special day. This is a very special time. Show me a hill I can climb. Give me a mountain to move, and I'll prove that it's a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day. Up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day.
Special day it is. It is a terrific Tuesday, and that means my partner in crime, my co-host this morning from AFP, Americans for Prosperity. We have Angel Purlee in the house. Good morning, Angel.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
That's
Also
right.
from
Happy Tuesday. Yay. Happy Tuesday.
Beautiful day, beautiful morning.
It is. Today's supposed to be really hot, so I'm super stoked about
It's
it.
going to be a hot day, hot
It
one.
is.
All right, and speaking of that, in the hot seat this morning, we do have our own from Americans for Prosperity. We have Cody White with us. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
I love it. I love it. So I'm back. I've been here once before, about a year ago.
I'm back, baby.
That's right. I'm back. And I
We've been missing you.
think a year ago I came on with the message of the Biden administration is an absolute disaster, and a year later I'm back, and it is still an absolute disaster. But one thing I do want to talk about today is. So Biden has this economic plan he's been touting, Bidenomics.
Okay.
And you would think that someone on his team would have bought the website Bidenomics.com, but they did not. We bought it. So if anyone wants to learn about all the terrible policies coming out of the Biden White House, Bidenomics.com.
Okay, we're going to talk about that
Yes.
today, okay? Put a little pin in that one
Yep.
real quick. Let's see. Let's thank our sponsors this morning.
Yes,
There we
let's
go.
Thank Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Rose's, Fox Purlee Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Care First Urgent Care, and McAllister Land Consulting.
Okay, thank you to our great sponsors. Today is the 4th day already of June. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
When did that happen? We went right into June over the weekend.
Yeah, so are we officially halfway done with 2024?
Yes.
It would be. Look at that.
There
So,
we
like,
go.
so many. I've started the Christmas countdown, Cody.
Getting there.
Listen,
I do love
for
that.
those that know and for those that listen know that I'm a shopper.
Yes.
They are putting the Halloween and Christmas stuff out, people. It is out. I'm telling you, it's out. It's out.
You've already seen it? Have you really?
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, I'm being
I had no
100
clue.
serious. Yeah, no, it's out. I was like, what? I was like, what's happening? Thanksgiving. I've seen Halloween, Thanksgiving. Okay, I have not seen Christmas, but I have seen Halloween, Thanksgiving. And I'm like, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
And they're like, it's just a couple
Tis the
months away
season.
at this point. And I'm like, what?
We've not even had the 4th of July yet.
I'm just
We've not
telling
even celebrated.
you what the retailers are doing.
birthday.
I will give the retailer report every week.
I appreciate that. We need that.
Yeah,
retail
no,
report.
Halloween and Thanksgiving I have seen already.
I'm a little bit taken back that I did not know this. This was like
Yeah.
new news to me. Okay, wow, I need to go check out. Okay.
You're lacking.
I am falling behind here. Okay, I feel so ashamed. So ashamed.
You should be.
All right, this is the today is also the Audacity to Hope Day. You have the audacity to hope.
like open-minded people, kind of like.
Right. I think everybody should have hope, right?
Yeah.
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 You gotta have hope.
Is that like
right?
like if you're a realist, like, hey, like I don't have hope, like I'm just real.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I don't
So
know.
I don't know. Hug your cat day. And Cody was hugging Sissy Baby earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to do that.
He liked her. She liked him.
I'm sure she did. She
loves-
likes the boys.
She does. The baby
In
does.
fact, I
yeah.
think I seen her out with her
That's
partner outside.
Probably. International Cheese Day. Ooh, what's your favorite kind of cheese, Cody?
Pepper jack.
Ooh, a little
Yeah.
spicy there. What
That's
about
right.
you, Angel?
I'm gonna be cliche and say American, but okay. Here's the thing.
Okay.
We did during our charcuterie and wine night, which I think we did not get to step on. That
Oh, how fun that
Um,
was.
what was that? What was it? The raspberry cheese?
Goat cheese.
It was raspberry though.
Yeah, it's Rose.
And
favorite
I
cheese.
tell you what,
That is the bomb diggity.
that's a hard. First of all, it's hard to come by because I don't know where she got it. But
Walmart has it.
Oh, Walmart.
Walmart's got it.
And I tell you what, but I'm just plain old American cheese.
You can't go wrong. Yeah. My favorite's whatever's sitting in front of me.
Mozzarella.
Oh, mozzarella sticks. Oh, have mercy.
Yeah, mozzarella's good.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's the cheese where like you get it? Okay, like they serve it in a big
Nacho.
clump.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, nacho cheese. They it's like in a big clump, and you take like bread or something, and like you kind of like open it, and just like it's just like almost like runny. You seen that? What's that big?
Queso.
Like Gouda?
Is that Gouda?
I don't know.
It's awful good.
I made that up.
Gouda's good. I don't know. It's something.
Queso.
I've seen it. No,
I
not
don't
queso.
know.
It's like in a big clump, and then like you open
Cheese
it.
ball is
No.
what we call that.
Stop her over there, Cody. Okay, it's a big clump of cheese, like it's a big thing, and then
Cream cheese.
No, and they open it up, and like you kind of dip your bread or dip like a cracker or something. Oh my goodness, yeah.
I
Okay,
don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I will find out. Okay, National
Cheddar.
Cheese. Cheddar.
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 I don't know.
Cheddar.
I didn't know I knew this many cheeses.
Jesus, I know. National Cheese Day, National Clean Beauty Day. Clean beauty.
Clean beauty?
Clean beauty. Clean beauty.
What's that mean? Like,
Kind of
clean?
just natural. Clean and beauty, I guess. I don't know.
as opposed to dirty beauty? Cody's like, I'm not commenting.
I've never heard you this silent. I mean, this is the quietest he's been. National Safe Day. Be safe today.
That's what Cody's being.
That's what-
That's right. I'm honoring that.
All right. Old Maid's Day.
Old maid, like
Old
is
maid.
in like the game.
I wonder. It just said Old Maid's Day. I don't know. Ooh, National.
What, Cody? What?
Or elderly cleaning people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
National
I don't know.
Shopping Cart Day. We just heard of some new shopping carts are going to start rolling out that uses like the AI. Is that right? Am I saying it right? AI. Where like it's like where it like tells you how much money you've spent, like what you.
Oh, that's dirty. Who needs to know that?
Like before
That's
when you
terrible.
Put, like let's say you grab a can of corn or a can of beans or something, you put them in your cheese, put it in your cart, it'll tell you how much your price is already.
Well, I think that's something we need right now because of all this Biden inflation.
There you go.
There we
that's
go,
right.
see, like-
Let's jump in.
There you go.
I
All right,
knew that
segue
Cody's
in.
gonna jump all
Jump right on
over
that.
Okay, all right. So those are the dates. Get out and enjoy.
When you say
it.
they,
Yes.
you mean like grocery stores are doing this?
Yeah, it's like they're real expensive though. So hang on, think about this. So if a grocery store has to buy those, that's gonna cost the grocery store a lot more money. So you kind of look at the inflation and we've already, so I think it's kind of one of those things that they're kind of trying to figure out, weigh in how they're going to cost, because it'll be a lot more pricier to have those. They're more of a luxury, if you will. And so I don't know whether some way down the future, maybe they'll make them a little cheaper, but right now some are trying them out to see. So maybe they're testing them without charging them.
I don't know about it. I don't know.
I think it'd be nice if you're on a budget, like kind of knowing like what you're spending, and I think it would be kind of
Yeah, I wished. Okay, so for all you list people out there,
those with the
good
list.
job.
Yeah.
And you stick
there's
to it.
superpowers.
Like, I
Oh.
mean, I wish I was more of a list person.
Yeah.
But I go, and that's where I get in trouble.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
then-
kind of let the grocery store tell me what I need.
I know, and that's what's, I think, dangerous.
Speak to me.
Like, oh, they have a new
speak to me,
so-and-so.
Walmart.
Like,
Tell me what I
this
need.
new little Debbie I need to try. Okay,
Well,
yeah.
especially like when they're on sales, like the sales, you kind of, especially like if you're a bargain, you kind of let the Walmart tell me like, oh, this is on sale, the cheese is on sale, so there you go.
So
Yeah.
I need some cheese.
Actually, so I'm on like kind of like, as we're talking about all this, and so as the cost of living continues to go up.
Right.
So today is American Cheese Day, and I'm looking at here on the Bidenomics website right now. The price for American cheese since Joe Biden has taken office has increased by 23%.
Oh wow.
The price of chicken is up 26%. The price of ground beef is up 30%. The price of eggs is up 103%. 12% for the price of whole milk, and 14% for the price of fruits and vegetables. So that is how much just the cost of going to the grocery store has increased over the last couple of years. So I totally understand why there's there's a market of customers out there who want to know exactly how much they're paying when they're getting up to the grocery, getting up to the checkout line, because they don't want to have to go through the embarrassment of bringing stuff back because they can't afford it.
No, exactly. Or getting up there, yes, exactly. And when you go to checkout, it'd be comforting to know like how much am I spending, especially if you come with a certain amount of money. Let's say you use cash or something and you have a certain amount of money, or if you have a certain amount of money you want to buy, and then not to know when you get up there. And I think I could see the advantage of that. How much does it tell you? Can you find out how much golf balls have gone up? Because I cannot believe I just
That
heard
is like the most random.
no, because we got talking about that, and like Titleist, like how much golf balls have gone up. I mean, just like I just could not.
If you bought it before and you buy it now, I think it's mostly like most of it's gone up.
I know, but
everything
I
is
was just
high.
like amazed at that.
Anymore, I think that I get to a mindset where I'm just like, I don't know why I'm shocked that that's the price for that, or like I think that anymore it's just like, yeah, everything's high. Everything's high. You go to do something, you leave your driveway, you go to the gas pump, everything is high. I strongly dislike going to the gas pump anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, before she enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't mind.
Before she.
No, I didn't mind as much. It didn't. It's like I'm gonna go get gas and I know that I'm gonna be $80 in. Like I know I'm gonna leave my driveway and I'm gonna spend at minimum $80.
Well, and I think kind of one of the things we lose in this is it's not just that gas prices are high; it's that they've been high now for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
And usually like. You have like the seasons of gas, so gas prices will go up in the summer, but there's going to be under $2 in the winter, and that's kind of the flow of it. But it's been $3 to $4 for a good 4 years now,
Right.
almost.
Yeah. It stayed steady.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, and then you talked about like the cost of food, and you talk about restaurants. It's expensive. Good, like especially when you're buying good quality food, it costs more. And then a restaurant has to buy the food, make the food, and then pay for people to help serve the food. I mean, you think about what all they go through for a restaurant in
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean,
and then we the people go and sit at the restaurant, and we don't want to spend a lot of money on that, but then you see the cost where it costs the person that owns the restaurant that much money. I mean, it is kind of a cycle there, a circle.
I mean,
guess.
if you go out to eat anymore, I mean, and there's people that, I mean, several people that are weighing out the option of I could either go out to eat or I could go buy groceries for the week.
Well, and I think you do that.
Right. I mean, you can't go out to eat hardly anywhere for under $20 a plate if it's a sit-down restaurant.
Right. Not
Or
anymore.
no. person.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No, I remember when you could get a meal for $5.
Yep.
I mean, you had a $5 bill, you were fine. You could eat.
Or my favorite fast food restaurant, Subway. You used to have the $5 footlongs. You can't even get the 6-inch one for $5 now.
Yeah. It's all gone up.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's part of it, and I think everybody's feeling it. I think every family's feeling it. I think that's probably the number one, where the paycheck goes is to the store, to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the housing market. I mean, like again, I mean, there's just you can call out anything, and I think everything's just so high right now. It's just, yeah. I mean, you see on social media people talking about it. you see families talking about, like, I'm just scrounging to get by. I mean, it's just, it's actually, it's kind of sad.
Mm-hmm. It's very sad.
And I just, and I'm not like in a pity way, but more so in a like we've got to do something. Something's got to give here. Something's got to change, because there's people that will not survive. I mean, it's just, it's crazy.
I do want to say that I'm going to segue in real quick, because I'm so proud of, we just released a couple weeks ago at Salem School Board that all of the students at Salem will be eating for free.
Oh, that's
we're doing
awesome.
Free breakfast, free lunch.
So just go to the Salem High School.
School. Well, I mean, I'm really happy for our families, because that's a lot.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a big
right,
deal.
and as a mother, it's comforting to know, listen, I will skip a meal for my kids to eat.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And I know that they're getting fed, yes.
Yes, and you can't hardly do a math question, or math, I'm trying to say equation problem on a hungry stomach, and this is something, as parenting, that's a relief to me, to know, and they're going to, for breakfast and lunch, that's hats off, and that was hard work. That's not.
And my other two kids in with Jameson. Yeah. Okay, guys, go eat your breakfast. Jameson, we'll see you at lunch.
But in this day and age, for a public school to do that, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that really is, because you're talking, again, we just talked about food prices, and schools aren't exempt from that.
No.
I mean, they have to pay for the prices of food and all that they have to do, and to prepare it, and the people to prepare it and serve it, and to do that, I'm very proud of that, and I just can't. You'll hear me saying that over and over again. But so we have this with the cost. We've talked about the gas not going down. The prices of food's not going down, and these are things that everyday people use.
Yeah.
These are something. These aren't luxuries. These are just things that we use.
Yeah, and then I think that's on top of the increased. I mean, gas is kind of included in this, but energy prices. Like, I'm sure, like, you're on the school board, you recognize like how much your utility bills have gone up. I mean, I see it in my house. I'm on the board of my local church. Like, I see it there. It depends on your area, but people are paying for just to heat and cool their home somewhere between 16 and 64% more than they were a few years ago.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, and then you talk about just like that. Then you talk about if you're a fixed income. Yep. I just saw actually this just a story about a 90-year-old man, and he was pushing carts at a grocery store because he could not make it on his fixed income.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just to buy the necessities, and you think at 90 years old, and he was a veteran, and they actually raised money to help him. But I think that's something that shows, of course, he enjoyed working too, which I love a good work ethic, and I do believe if you can do it, that's great. But again, just the prices again of, like you said, heating and cooling and all of that. They've gone
it's just
up.
the necessities at this point. We're not even talking about just the wants, not even the needs. We're talking about just the necessities. And I don't know. Like I said, it's just it's sad, and I think that I don't know what there is to do. There's nothing anybody can do about it, but. Just know that hey, you're not alone. We're all facing it. We're all going through it.
Well, I think, like, in light of it being National Hope Day, or what was that?
The audacity.
The Audacity to Hope Day, which I also would love to know who decided what all these dates
Tell
are.
me about it.
I know.
I've been wanting a WSLM Day for years. Who?
Yeah, we got to get our congressman on that.
You have a WSLM Day.
Yes, that's right. February 14th.
We got to get that nationally recognized.
I thank you for that.
Yeah.
On that one.
We'll do that.
All over it. Call your guy.
Yeah,
okay.
my dad.
You know, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, since in light of it being the Audacity to Hope Day, I do think there are some things we can do, and the biggest of those is we have an election coming up in 2024 this year. It's 5 months away now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
About 5 months. November 5th, 2024, and we all got to get out and vote, and we got to vote the people who are these are all of this cost of living increase is because of policies coming out of Washington D.C. And we got to have a change in there. So that comes from the top down.
And this is where the voters come in.
That's where the voters come in,
and they're called upon.
Right, and the grassroots, like it's on all of us to make those phone calls. Indiana, we're very fortunate. We're a pretty solid red state. Looks like Congressman Jim Banks is going to walk right in there in the Senate, so we're very excited to see him replace Mike Braun as Mike Braun becomes governor. But
I was going to say, yeah, you followed that. I was going to say,
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So Mike Braun's going to become governor, which is also awesome. We endorse Mike Braun, and we've been all in for him the entire time, and we're very excited to see Mike Braun become governor.
Oh yeah, we talked about Mike Braun.
We've talked about him.
Looking federally, there are 7 very competitive Senate seats, and if we can pick those up, we can really change a lot of these policies coming out of Washington. So those races are in Ohio and Michigan, and Nevada and Montana and West Virginia.
Yeah, you're talking about the United States Senate.
Yeah, the United States Senate.
Right,
Yes,
right,
yes, yep. So our sister organization, Americans for Prosperity Action, which does our federal races, they've endorsed in all of those, and we have activists. We're mobilizing across those states and around the country to make phone calls, knock doors, all the bread and butter grassroots stuff that wins elections. So I think that is where we have hope is that hopefully there is a change coming to Washington, and we all have an opportunity to be a part of that.
So why do you feel that most people don't vote? What do you think the main reason is?
Well, people don't vote.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think? Because it's really sad. I mean, when you start even on a local level here.
I feel like most people feel like their vote doesn't count.
So I think I think that's true. Like, we do have at least a majority of the country that votes in like the November election on presidential years.
Yeah,
it's about 60%. I think the reason why the other 40% don't vote is they don't feel that whether they elect Republicans or Democrats, there's going to be a big change, and I totally get that. I do. I think the country, the way our system is set up, is we have choices, and we should always pick the best choice, and that's kind of what we do. Is our job is to go out there and hit those doors, make those phone calls, and talk to that 40% or whatever it is of the country that isn't voting, and be like, this is why this candidate is the best option we have in this race right now. This is the change they're going to bring to Washington. This is how it's going to marginally benefit your life, and that's where I think the power of grassroots comes in, and those door knocking and those phone calls. I'd love to see more people vote. I think especially in the primary system, where the primary process, where we're deciding who our top 2 choices are, really getting engaged. That's where you see very low voter turnout. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers from off the top of my head from the last election, but I believe it was under a third voter turnout.
Yeah, I think that there's I would say there's multiple reasons that's why people don't vote. Like, you get the people that and I know it sounds crazy, people forget.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard like people forget. I've heard they feel like their vote doesn't count. I feel like they don't like anybody on the ballot, and I've also heard that they don't even what's the word? They don't know. They're not educated on the whole voting process. We made phone calls in what state was, I can't remember now, that they had 2 elections and they didn't realize that they hadn't voted officially for everybody. So they voted like a state level race, and then they had a federal level race that they voted for.
Yep.
And they're like, we've already voted. And so I think that voter knowledge is so important, and that's why I think it's important that, yes, politics and the whole game can be complex. I get confused. I was confused during that state.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens, but I think that voter knowledge is so important, and we have such a lack of that too. Because we have people still, like when we go to the doors or we could talk on the phones, well, I've voted Democrat my whole life, I'm going to continue to vote Democrat, and vice versa. I voted Republican my whole life, I'm going to vote Republican. And it's like, that's cool, but those don't mean the same things as they used to anymore. They have changed completely. And so it's just paying attention, being involved, and I think that's a civic duty. That it's your civic duty to vote, but it's also like make sure that you're going in the ballot and knowing who you're voting for. I think that's very important, and why you're voting for them. And at Americans for Prosperity, we do a really good job of educating people on that. We have the folks that we have, that we're endorsing, but we have reasons as to why we're endorsing them as well. And so I think that, I would say I don't think there's one specific reason why people don't vote. I think there's like a list of like a variety of like reasons why some people don't vote.
Yeah, I think like kind of like going off what you were saying, like you're right. Like sometimes the Republican and Democrat distinction doesn't mean anything. I think here's a good one to look at is okay, here's the comparison. If your like best friend had a credit card, and your best friend was taking that credit card and taking out loans on that credit card at like 27% interest to give money to like their friends or like a complete stranger, and they're taking out debt just to give money away, that you think, well, that's not a very smart decision. You're not making good life decisions doing that. Well, that's what our government's doing. A lot of our elected officials are doing. So look at their record there and be like, okay, well, they're making like bad decisions that I wouldn't make in my life. Why would I continue to elect them? Mm-hmm. So I think that's how you evaluate it.
Right. Well, I think that I think it's very sad for the clerk's offices and all that goes into an election. You know, it costs money for every community that has an election, holds an election. And also, I mean, they put a lot of work into it, all of these different offices getting ready for an election. And and we've gone through where they have to be, you know, very transparent. I mean, and they do a great job at doing that. And I think then it's so, I think to me it would be I would be so offended whenever I don't have a huge voter turnout after all of the work that goes involved in that.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah, exactly. And I'll just say, like, I know there are a few outliers out there, but by and large across the state, we have just a lot of great county clerks that are, especially in our small rural counties,
absolutely,
who are basically running elections by themselves. Like they're doing great work. Obviously, there are a few exceptions out there, but for the most part, our clerks are doing great work.
I can't imagine what you're speaking of.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, but I know like here, I know they do a great job, and I know and we talk with them, and we have them on, and you know, a lot, and finding out all that goes on behind. And I feel like the public needs to know that there's a lot of work that goes on behind. There's a lot of people that care and are doing this for the good of the people, if you will. And it's sad when the people don't come out to vote. And I feel like that this is going to be a big thing where we need to make sure that people do get out and vote, getting closer to November.
Yeah, I think this is a huge election, and which every election's a big deal, right? But this one, if you're not realizing how important this election is, you're not paying attention. The next 4 years is very critical, and we've got to do something about it. And it's up to us. There's nobody else. It's up to us.
Remember the 5th of November.
That's
our chant.
Remember the 5th of November.
I got that from a coworker of ours yesterday, Graham Rimbarger. I stole that from him, to be honest.
Sounds very Graham Rimbarger-ish.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to borrow that. That's good. That's real good. So, Cody, do you think then? What do you hear about? I guess as far as like the future with the different, we have two candidates, and are you hearing like what's some of the things I guess you're hearing from the different communities that you've
presidential?
Yeah, the presidential. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really have no idea how that one's going to shape up. I mean, I think there's.
Ooh,
yeah. I was going to say, I think like from a strictly like political analysis standpoint, it's. If you just looked at each candidate, it would probably be hard to see how each candidate could pull it off and win, which makes this the most interesting election ever. So I'm just not going to make a prediction on that. You know, at AFP and AFP Action, we're laser focused on the House and Senate, trying to hold the line there.
Okay.
The presidential election, I mean, I have my personal views and who I hope wins, but I really have no idea how that's going to play out.
Yeah. Oh. Do you feel like it'll be making history? I mean, this is going to be definitely something that'll be in the civic books. I think.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also interesting. We were talking about election turnout. 2020 was the highest voter turnout we've seen as a country ever.
And that was during COVID.
It was during COVID. Now we significantly expanded how long the election was taking place. We had the mail-in votes and all that stuff that did increase voter turnout. So I don't know if we're going to see the same or lower voter turnout this year. I think my gut tells me it's going to be pretty high, but that'll be a big factor in how this election plays out.
Right. Do you feel that during the 2020, when with such a voter turnout, you feel like a lot of people were, I guess, distraught, upset, maybe confused, scared a little bit because of all that was going on? Yeah, I mean,
they realized that 2020 was a bizarre time for our country for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's almost odd. Like, we've been out of it for 2 years that we kind of like how, like, at least for me, how distant that time period. 4 years. Well, I mean, like, we've been almost completely done with COVID for the last two.
Yeah.
It's 2024.
Well,
Yeah.
No,
Right.
No, I got the math he was
Yeah,
doing. I
yeah,
got
yeah,
where
yeah.
you were at.
So
yeah.
we were in
because
COVID.
we were still battling. I mean, we've been,
It was all of 2020 and all of 2021, and a little bit of 22. It seems like, I think.
Sorry, you have to.
Yeah, that's
I had
our
a baby
I don't-
during 20.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
You're kind of out of
So
it.
yeah, I think our government in 2020 was on display the entire time.
Yeah.
I at every level. So like we had our governor Eric Holcomb. He was out doing his daily press conferences.
So I carried them every day.
Every day.
I had them on the station
Yep,
every day.
every day. And then the Trump White House, they had their press conferences every day. So for an entire 7-8 month period leading up to the election, people were hyper focused on what the government was doing. So I'm sure that drastically increased turnout as well.
we had those updates, but we also had like new things to do. I think it was like, this, no, not that, now this. I mean, like, remember like the days for COVID kept getting shorter and shorter of how long you had to, quarantine, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was just so much going on,
Yeah.
and then we had that shutdown, and I mean, yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, and I do think it really did like increase people's awareness about their government. Because I remember I was working for the Senate caucus at the time, so the Senate Republicans, and we were making phone calls at that time, and phone calls. 2019 into 2020 maybe had a 5%, 6% pickup rate. So we'd actually, like, if you called 100 people, you'd talk to 5 or 6 of them. During COVID, we were 25, 30%. So out of every 100 people you called, you were talking to like 20, 30 people.
Everybody's home.
Everyone was home,
yeah.
and like everyone was like really interested in talking about politics and the upcoming election. This would have been the Indiana primary that we were making phone calls for in June, not May, in June of 2020, because that got delayed.
Yeah,
It took working from home to a whole other level.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I think too, I think people did want to talk. I think people were confused. People were trying to figure out what's this about and what direction we're going. And I sometimes, like, I don't know. Sometimes tragedy sometimes can bring people together too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't want to. Not that we want tragedies, but like sometimes things like that. I mean, we saw that with when 9/11. You know what I mean? It brought everybody together and the world stopped. Every kind of like that. And then with the COVID, it was a longer time. It was a much longer time, but it was also a time when everybody had they wanted answers. They wanted questions, or they had a lot of questions, and they wanted answers. So it was perfect to have that polling, that talking to the people, right? I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of knowledge that you received from there, finding out how people feel, what they thought, and what their fears were. We've talked about when Angel has been here. We've talked about Americans for Prosperity, talking about what's their biggest worries. Is it inflation? Is it education? What do people feel? And I'm sure that was a time of growth for you, Cody, and making those calls.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So how do you think most people feel, I guess, now? Or what do you feel like the vibe is right now?
I think, well, yeah, I think that there's some of that, or a lot of that right now for sure, with the high, just how expensive everything is right now. But I also think, we deal with, conservative grassroots activists. That's kind of our bread and butter.
Explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, so like our folks are people who are center right. They believe in principles of like the free market. They want to see government out of our lives. They want to decide where their kids go to school. They want all are like kind of like low taxes. Like if I could use any word to describe it, is like they want freedom, right?
Freedom.
And so these are all folks who are engaged in the political system in some way. They're coming in, they're making phone calls, they're going to events, and every single one of those folks that I talk to is they're fired up and they're ready to go. They're ready to go hit the doors. They're ready to make the phone calls. And they're sick and tired of what's coming out of Washington D.C. and they want to see a change. So that is very inspiring. And if there is something we have the audacity to hope for, it's that the grassroots are coming, and we're going to change things in Washington.
Yeah, he's got that phrase going.
Yeah,
He's
that's right.
going to use that all day today.
The audacity to hope.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's grassroots. I mean, like, there's a reason why it's. I mean, literally, the roots. It literally kind of says it for itself too. Like we are. I mean, it's. I don't know. It's the what is it doing? I'm going to butcher that quote. I'm not even going to attempt to do it. But it's like doing the hard work after the hard work has already been done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's... I don't remember who said that.
I have no idea.
I think it was Newt Gingrich is who it was. And, and I that's actually probably one of my favorite quotes, because I think that it speaks volume to just hard workers. And anymore, and Cody, we have our grassroots team, and the grassroots team that we had during that primary. It was the biggest or one of the biggest in the nation, and they did so well. We've knocked on thousands of doors. It's just so nice seeing those people and seeing young people, seeing older people. I mean, people of every age getting excited about elected officials, getting excited about elections, and getting involved. Mm-hmm. And I think that having that and having those types of people, because sometimes they can be rare. And we were able to build that capability, and like I said, it was definitely, I've been here going on 10 years with Americans for Prosperity. It was the biggest grassroots that we've had in the state of Indiana since I've been here. And I think that speaks volume too to what's going on right now with the elections. People are, like I said, people are getting excited. People are wanting to get in the know. And so we are always accepting volunteers. We still have plenty of volunteer opportunities. We've got state level races coming up. We'll be involved here in Indiana. We'd love to have people, but yeah, I think that I think it speaks volume to what took place with all the people that we had involved and all the people we had hired on during this past primary election.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off that, if you want to learn more and have Angel reach out to you, at the bottom there is a you can sign our petition, and if you opt in to be contacted, Angel can reach out to you. That's kind of the quickest, easiest way to get involved. And if you just want to sign the petition and let Biden know you're sick of it, and you don't want to hear from Angel, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't,
good job,
you can
Cody.
always
Right next to you.
yeah, you can always opt out of that contact as well and just let Biden
She
know.
brought you coffee.
That's right, she did bring me coffee.
I ate some donuts.
I said I have no idea why you wouldn't want Angel to contact you, but if you don't for whatever reason, you can opt out.
Let me emphasize that one more time. Yeah, go ahead. What was that website again?
Bidenomics.com.
Bidenomics.com.
Okay, so what if someone is completely confused about all this? I mean, like they're just really not. Maybe they don't have someone to talk about it.
Yeah.
And they just are really confused. And before they want to become a volunteer, they just
Sure.
really want to find out some more facts.
Yeah, I think that's
I was gonna say reach out to Angel.
Reach out to right. I was gonna say reach out to Angel, get coffee, but like we also have lots of opportunities to come and just hang out with like-minded people. It doesn't necessarily have to be making phone calls or knocking on doors. That's great.
If you're interested, my first ask is not going to be, hey, come in and let's get to work.
One thing that I know that we do that is super awesome is we have these wine and charcuterie board nights, talking about Bidenomics, just trying to provide some relief to, like one of the things, if you're spending all your money on groceries right now, there's not a lot of extra room for recreation, so we're trying to do these fun events around the state.
Yeah.
So if that's something you're interested in, Angel's working on that right now.
Yeah, we have another one tomorrow night, charcuterie and wine night.
Oh, that was so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
My board was really pretty too.
We are very blessed to be able to offer these classes and offer a fun night. What was supposed to be more. There was a couple people there that thought maybe more of a meeting type, and they rant and raved afterwards. This was so much fun. We should do more things like this often. We got a lot of great feedback on that event.
Definitely.
We teamed up with Sweet and Sassy Ashley. Let me say that. With Ashley Garland, and she did a phenomenal job as a teacher. And I think I am not the one teaching the class. Let me make that very, very clear. Yeah. I am not the one teaching the class. You don't want me teaching the class. Trust me. But it's fun. It's fun to grab a friend, we did it kind of around Mother's Day. That was on purpose, to go with your mom, friend, mother-like figure, sister, and whoever. To come out and enjoy an evening on us. So, like I said, we're having another one, and we'll be having more. If you missed this one, follow us on social media. on our Facebook page, on our Twitter, Instagram, and get these, if you're of interest, reach out to us. We'll get you some dates. And grab some buddies, grab some friends, and have a fun night out. I don't know, Mom, you can speak to this more so.
Well, I think it was
the experience. I did not myself do a charcuterie board. I kind of just spectated and making sure that Ashley had everything she needed. But you can talk about how it was the experience itself doing it.
Right. Well, I think that I think it was a blast. It was so much fun. But I thought also I heard a lot of ladies talking about how nice this was, and and just to have kind of a night where financially, I mean, those charcuterie boards, it was, by the time you put all the meat and the cheeses and everything together, it was nice financially. That was a little bit of, not having to pay, and it was a nice event that was free. It was a free event, and it was nice because it was something that maybe a lot couldn't go and do, a little extra like
and
that.
And our Bidenomics swag is pretty cool too.
They went crazy over that. Yeah, they were like,
who doesn't love swag?
I mean, I'm telling you right now, these ladies love the swag. Okay, and I'm with that too. I love the swag.
I think you got a blanket. Didn't you get a blanket?
From a blanket to bags, and they had I think
chargers.
They had everything. Oh, the chargers! It was so funny. The chargers were like, oh, I'm going to use this one, this, and I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use it in this, and it was so funny listening to everybody. Yeah,
I think Cody did that yesterday.
The swag. They were there for the swag for sure. But it was also a fun event to bring everybody, like you said, kind of like-minded, and to get everybody for fellowship. And I talked to one lady, and she said I don't think that people know enough about what's going on with and okay, I hate when you say the word politics. Some people just like, oh, it's painful, but whatever you want to call it, whatever. But I don't think we know enough about it, and this is something we should know the most about.
The economy,
maybe the economy. I'm just talking about like who we're voting for, what their thoughts are. To get involved and find out, who's making these decisions for us. And she was like, I really want to get to know more information, and I want to be able to educate people on this. And that's where you do have to jump in. You have to jump in, and you have to be involved. You have to go to you can be volunteers, and just like whatever level you want to be. If you want to be the behind the scenes,
Yeah, there's various opportunities with Americans for Prosperity. Maybe you are not the type that wants to talk on the phone or knock on doors, but you still want to get involved. I mean, we have people all the time that come and hang out. I mean, there's things that, maybe you're an organizer. Maybe you're like, hey, I will organize all your swag. Or, there's a multitude. I mean, there's multiple levels of, of things you can do. It's not just a come in and do this. I mean, we have people that have started out, and they see us talking on the phones, and they're like, no, I want to, like, that's not, I want to do that. I want to educate the people. Now, granted, you have people that are highly, as we all know, can just be very rude. Something about not being face to face has people doing that these days. But no, those you shake off, and you've got the people though that I've had. I mean, I can't tell you an endless amount of people that have thanked me for the work that we're doing, and it's people like that just make up for all the nasty people. And you understand why you're doing what you're doing, and it really gives you that motivation to continue to make those phone calls. And because you might be the only phone call, you might be the only door knocker that they get that whole entire season of election season. And I think, in fact, we have during whenever we were knocking the primary, and this past primary, I had a few of my part-timers that said they had never seen anybody at their door before. They were so happy that we showed up. And I'm like, this is why we do what we do. This is it right here. This is why. Because those people, we don't want anybody left behind. We want to make sure we hit everybody that we can, and we want to make sure that we include everybody. Because every vote does matter. It does matter.
Absolutely. Do you feel too that it's a lot of, like, I find this is, and I hope more people do their research on this, they don't understand exactly what goes into the job of being whatever office someone's holding. Mm-hmm. Like they don't, like we last year we had the city race, or it was last year before. Time goes by so fast. But this year we had the county too on here. And I think a lot of people were really confused of, when to vote, when not to vote. And then also what what offices they're voting for. Like, what does, for Braun, what office, I mean, he's running for, but what will a governor do? What's the office that, what will that entail to be that position? What will it, what does it entail to be a president of the United States? What does it entail to be a county commissioner, to be a county council? I feel like a lot of times people don't understand what exactly, I don't think when you start talking politics, it gets a little confusing on what exactly job they're holding.
Well, I think for a lot of even foreign voters, one of the ones that's more confusing is the breakdown between county council and county commissioner. Because I think if you look at the state or the federal, it's okay, well the governing body where there's a lot of people, the legislator, that's who makes the laws. And then you have the governor, the president, the executive, or the mayor who runs things. And that's kind of the basic framing. It's not quite that simple, but that's the basic framing that most people have. It's relative.
Did 101 right
there.
That's
101. But at the county level, it's interesting. So you have the commissioners, which is a board of 3 usually.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have the council, which is a board of just depends on the size of the county.
Yeah.
And the county council is that legislative body, and the commissioners, as the 3 of them usually, they serve as the executive.
And we just had that big election.
Yes.
And of course it'll have to go on to the general.
Yep.
We just had the primary for that.
Yeah.
But
what is your big issue here? And when it comes to the county commissioners?
Well, there's a lot of issues going on that they're dealing. And right now, as of right now, we have some. Of course, the Democrats they were unopposed. Most of the Republicans were unopposed, so it was more of a Republican races on that. And so if the Democrats come up with a candidate, or our Libertarian Party in our county has dissolved, but that doesn't mean that they can't run. A Libertarian still could run. They just don't have that committee behind them that they would have had before it dissolved. Mm-hmm. So the Democrats or the libraries, Libertarian, sorry, it's Tuesday. Libertarian Party has till November or till whatever the cutoff date is. I don't know if it's July, August. You could talk with our county clerk's office. Stephanie would have the information. But anyway, they have to come up with a candidate to have a race in November.
Yep.
So I think that they're dealing, of course, with finances. Mm-hmm. I think everybody's battling that.
Yeah.
And trying to keep taxes from going up. And so the two kind of are almost a lot to. You've got to keep maintenance up of the county, and we did get some grants for some roads, but the commissioners, we got a new commissioner possibly. I mean, he'll have to prove himself. He'll have to win the November the election, and so will the county council. We have 2 new ones on the county council, but again, they'll have to prove themselves in November, and I mean against possibly a Democrat or a Libertarian. Mm-hmm. So. I think that and cost of I think everybody's battling that in politics, right?
Well, I think
isn't that fair?
I know
that was just generic.
Financial, well, I was just going to say
taxes. I mean, these are things.
Yeah, I was just saying going back to the Bidenomics stuff. The counties and the cities are dealing with this stuff too, how many different federal regulations or grants. So way up north, or not, somewhat up north, Grant County. It's in between Indianapolis and Fort Wayne. It's a rural county up on the north side of the state. They have this huge political battle going on right now between over whether or not to allow solar panels on farmland. And on one side you have, I think, the people I would instinctively agree with, which is it's your land, it's the property you own, you have every right to do with whatever you want on it. But then on the other side, you have the people who live in there. They don't want to see this, so they want to keep their views and everything the same. And this is this massive battle that's going on. But what we lose sight of is this entire thing. The whole industry that's being propped up in Grant County is entirely subsidized by the federal government. We're paying for it. There's no real market for it, and the likelihood of long-term success for a project like that is pretty low. So it's again the federal government coming in and creating headaches for our local governments, just like they create headaches for us in our lives.
Well, I think that sometimes the federal government, and I know we saw it during COVID, they were giving us orders and directions, it was like you could do this and you could do this, but you can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so difficult on a local level to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And then like what one county was doing, the other county was not doing. And that was where like and like we have so many sister counties that surround us, like everybody does, and it was hard. It was confusing for those that live close to the line where they're like this county says this way, this county says one way,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very confusing.
Yeah. Or like even like you're on the school board. Like, do you deal with this on the school
Oh
board?
well, you know
like federal
you have
regulation and stuff.
well, and it was where every board had to make the decision of to mask or no mask. Well, you had those that wanted the mask to still be on, but then you had those that would say get rid of the mask, and then that was very it was very much a lot to try to figure out. And then you have in our county we have 3 schools that what's everybody going to kind of do, and you can't have or you didn't want to everybody kind of tried to work together. It was just very confusing at that time. And then also the number one thing is to have a safe environment for your children. We didn't want parents to when they when children go to work or when parents go to work, we didn't want them to worry about their children.
Mm-hmm.
And those were concerns. And if you remember, then everybody's trying to figure out how safe COVID is or what we can do,
Yeah.
And then the medical, you feel for them because the medical, we're begging or demanding the folks, the doctors, the nurses, nurse practitioners to tell us what to do,
Mm-hmm.
tell us what's right, what's wrong, and they're trying to figure it out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And any little bit of information that they brought to us, we jumped on. And whether they had time to even kind of digest whether it was going to be that way, and then sometimes they would change, they would learn, and then so it was demanding for them to put information out, and they were, and they're doing their best, and then we are trying to get the information out, and we're doing our best, and you can see it was just a lot.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, you can't.
And everybody's doing their best.
Well, it's true. I mean, you feel for the medical because we're and I mean this, the media, we're all trying to say, please, I was begging, anybody from we had IU calling, IU Medical Center. We talked with them on the phone. We were begging for them to give us some information, and they're trying to do they're trying to do their best to get the right information and to tell it.
It was so new. It was
Everything
so
was
new
and you see everybody because. And then they're trying to digest it all, and we know that one day they'd say one thing, then they'd change to another thing, and then they changed the distance that you could be together. You wanted to,
We went back to COVID real quick.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying is that was you felt for everybody. Everybody needed grace. You needed to give everybody grace in that period.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we went back to COVID, but COVID was the biggest thing our country dealt with it's the biggest thing our country dealt with in 20, 30 years, 20 years.
Yeah, it wasn't just a matter of a month. I mean, it went on.
Yeah, it was a huge part of all of our lives for a very long time.
And it would be crazy to say that it wasn't still affecting. I mean, you're looking at our schools, look at our children, look at what the teachers,
Oh, yeah.
The teachers had a lot.
And I know, there was the committee hearing yesterday that everyone was talking about, but, that aside, we spent 2 years outside of COVID, we have spent very little time as a country kind of analyzing what we did right and what we did wrong during that time and how to do the next pandemic better, which I find very concerning.
Well, we haven't done that.
Yeah. We do every now and again, Congress will bring Dr. Fauci or one of those guys out there and they'll just grill him for all day long. But all right, that's kind of fun, but
we haven't done it as a state either though.
Yeah, not as a state, not as a county. I don't know about you guys. At least my county hasn't.
No.
Well, we have our emergency management.
Yeah.
We have monthly meetings on that and kind of get together and kind of figure out what we do. But on this one, on
COVID.
COVID.
About COVID, figuring out what we
But
could
who
do better
knew? I mean, that was just a whole new.
Oh, 100%.
But if there's a next pandemic,
Well, and I think that you try to go over drills. Of course, you kind of got to bob and weave on whatever.
Yes.
You can kind of somewhat have
right.
it, set up, but
I think there was to me anyway, and maybe it's just the way who I surround myself with, there was such a debacle over mask and no mask. And I think that was a huge, huge problem that people had. People didn't want to be masked up. They were like, if I choose not to, that, if I'm not sick, that's on me. If I get sick, that's me. I'm choosing that. And because you couldn't go in places. You could not go inside places without a mask. They would not allow you to.
Well, and there were store owners that had that because if they use that policy, then they lose their customers. And of course, stores, they need every customer they can get, especially during the pandemic. You were like trying your best to stay open or to do it safely. That was what we did. We did an election, Cody, and this was kind of cool at our local, what I'm trying to say, clerk's office. What am I trying to say? The Justice Center. Justice Center. Could not think of that. I wanted to say Justice League.
I could not help. I wasn't sure what you were looking for.
I've been watching too much Marvel. But anyway, Justice Center. What we did was they gave us the results, and we had the parking lot. We did almost like a drive-in where we had the radio playing out there in the parking lot for everybody to find out the results. Our something we do, kind of our thing that we do on elections in our community is people come to the Justice Center. They used to come to the courthouse and listen to the readings. It's kind of our nostalgic, or our kind of our things we do. What am I trying to say? Traditions. That's one of our traditions, is to come to the Justice Center now. We used to go to the courthouse. That's where they used to read the results. And we couldn't have everybody in safely with COVID, so we did a parking lot, kind of everybody distanced themselves and stayed in their
parking lot party is what she said.
Yeah. And we did candy, like drive-in movie candy and stuff like that. So that was kind of fun.
Nice.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was very, but now we're back to where everybody can come in and stuff, and things have changed on that. But we had to be very creative during that. So, and the show must go on. We know that election must go on no matter what.
Yes. Yeah, well, remember in 2020 we had to delay the election.
Yeah.
For at least the primary.
Yeah.
We did the same thing with Americans for Prosperity, though. We had to get really creative. We had we really got involved with Facebook Live. I think Zoom Teams.
Phone calls.
Really
phone calls.
Yeah, but like as far as like having like our events and stuff.
Oh yeah.
We started doing things online, and we started having presentations online, having people come to those. In fact, and we had special guests. Like I know Senator at the time, obviously, he's still a senator. Senator Mike Braun was one of our special guests on there. I'm trying to remember some other guests. I don't know if you recall. But this was going on in, were you not around?
I wasn't here.
No,
yeah.
Never mind. Cody wasn't here. Well, Senator Mike Braun was a guest, and we would have people from other states come on, and we would have conversations, and, all the states were doing this. They were having, elected officials, they were having volunteers, they were having, people just come on and let also know, hey, we're still here. Like, hey, some sort of, no, that's not maybe normal, but some sort of normalcy of like having that. I think because a lot of people are so isolated. So having something to be able to have those still events and see people and talk to people and, still kind of do your routine type thing with groups that you're involved in, the organization. So the organization kept that going. Which was really cool. We still have that opportunity for folks to still stay involved with us and come and listen to what we had to offer with elected officials, or, one of us chatting about, I don't even know at the time, maybe I'm trying to remember what specifics we were talking about. I think that Mike Braun probably gave a legislative update on what was going on out in Washington and what he was hearing coming down the pipeline. But yeah, so we also, like as you got creative, we had to get creative as well.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, and it's still going strong, and I think that now more than ever we've seen that who we put in is very important, and I hope that encourages people. And I think Cody and I think you and Americans for Prosperity and Angel, I think you guys are doing great, and I think it's great to educate people, and I think that's something that you never can be too educated on this, and finding out. For themselves, do you feel that? Most people, once they, after you've talked to someone about it, what's most of the reaction you receive?
Most people, Just talking about talking about the elections in general.
Yeah, and just about
I mean, there's people.
what's going on in the world, right?
I mean, there's people that you get that love to vent to, oh man, like they needed to open the door and they needed somebody to get that to listen to them.
Absolutely.
And so we get a lot of that. We get also the people that are so thankful, or that are whenever we tell them stuff, oh, I never knew that, I'm so glad you came, or oh wow, that are really shocked. And so you're talking about the people that maybe don't know. We encounter those. It's a variety of different people we encounter, and that's why, like I said, that's why it's important what we do, because we're there on the front lines. We are listening to the folks. We're listening. We're telling. We're doing all the things, that we should be doing, getting ready for an election.
Mm-hmm. Which is important.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. And I would say I've knocked on thousands of doors all around the country, and 90% of them just great conversations, great people who will sometimes just need a vent. I think a lot more than any.
Which is important.
Yep, 100%.
So Cody, I'm kind of doing this a little bit backwards.
Yep.
What exactly is your job? What do you do with Americans for Prosperity? Explain your.
Yeah, so I do.
Your job.
Yeah, I'm our director of operations. Most of my job is based around doing our political strategy for our races. So I work with our with our political team and our vendors to do mail, digital ads, all that stuff, and then and then I work with
and
radio. I don't do a lot of that. And then I work with Ben and Angel to run our field team around the state.
And is Americans for Prosperity all throughout the host state?
Yep. So we got our team down here in southern Indiana. We've got a team south of Indy, a team in Hamilton County, a team in Fort Wayne, and a team up in northwest Indiana.
Right. And it's amazing how many states have Americans for Prosperity.
Yes, so we're actually in some capacity in every state now. So we have 36 what we would call brick and mortar state chapters, like we have here in Indiana, where there's a team that's completely state based. They have some federal priorities, but they also do a lot at the state house. And then we also have the New England region, which is I think 8 or 9 states out that way. Then they have a team that works that entire region of states, like Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Those states are like the size of Washington County. And then we have a West Coast region as well, the left coast, as I like to call it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, and so if anybody's moving to the state of Indiana and maybe coming from where they were involved in their Americans for Prosperity, they could come here and be a part.
100%. Absolutely. We welcome again. Then that's a good way to AmericansForProsperity.org, Americans for Prosperity Indiana on social media outlets. You can contact me, Angel Purlee. You can contact Cody White, my more versatile name, Cody White. But yeah, you can contact us to get involved. We'd love to have, again, always accepting volunteers. We can get you plugged in, and somewhere we will find a spot for you if you want to get involved. We'd love to have you, love to get you plugged in, and love to have you. Like I said.
You could be as involved as you want to be, or...
Yep, that's the beauty of a volunteer.
Yeah. I'm a volunteer.
Yep, yeah. A volunteer. But I will say, I have been in the political realm for some time, and I will say that this organization treats, not the past ones, but this organization just takes treating the way they treat volunteers to a whole other level. Our volunteers do a lot for us. We do a lot for our volunteers as well. We make sure to give back and make sure that they're taken care of. So I think that's the reason why we have some pretty long-term volunteers we've had for many, many years before I was even here. They're still around.
Awesome. Cody, we're getting close on time. Is there anything that you'd like to...
I don't think there's anything else. Just check out Bidenomics.com, and thanks everyone for listening.
All right, and Cody, come back and visit us.
I will.
Love that.
Sweet.
Love that. And maybe closer to the election?
Yeah, absolutely.
November?
Yes, closer. We've got to remember the 5th of November.
That's right.
Remember the 5th of November. That's cute.
I gotta remember this thing.
That's what I'm trying to remember. Cody White, thank you for coming in. Americans for Prosperity. Keep up the great work, keeping people informed, and you're doing a great job. Thank you for that. And Angel, let's thank our sponsors this morning.
All right, let's thank Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Roses, Fox Purlee Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Care First Urgent Care, and McAllister Land Consulting.
All right, let's have the best Tuesday ever.
Happy Tuesday.
Cases and screen protectors, as well as select laptops marked down.
And if you're starting that outdoor patio, Walmart has fire pits, gazebos, folding and plastic chairs, and all the landscaping plants, mulch, and rock to make your special place a great summer location to relax.
Don't forget your summer food, fresh watermelons, corn, and tomatoes, and lots of great prices on steaks, hot dogs, and burgers for your holiday cookouts. We have grills, charcoal, and we offer propane tank exchanges for the lowest prices in town.
Hey Brad, I'm going to need a bigger cart.
Hey everybody, it's Brad from your local Salem Walmart, and as always, we appreciate your business at your local Salem Walmart.
If you're looking for a church in the area, try Turning Point Church at 899 West McLean Avenue in Scottsburg. Come see Pastor John Jackson and the congregation at Turning Point, a place for second chances and new beginnings. Regular services are Sunday at 10 a.m., Tuesday prayer time at 7 p.m., and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Check them out on Facebook, YouTube, or online at turningpointchurchinscottsburg.com for upcoming events, class times, and more. Also, Turning Point will be having a food giveaway for the community on June the 10th and 24th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. or until the food runs out at Turning Point Church at
In the beginning, there was fun on the radio. Then the radio industry fell victim to corporate America and venture capitalist bankers who marched in with their research and up to their armpits in debt and turned the radio band into a wasteland of cookie cutters, faceless, sound-alike stations who completely lost touch with the people they were meant to serve. Then there were two voices that cried out in the wilderness, faint at first, but becoming louder with every passing ratings book. It's okay to have fun again, to give the people what they really want to hear, and not treat them like a sea of mindless followers who have no choice in their radio entertainment. Welcome to the Rick and Bubba Show.
Here we go, 7 minutes past the hour from the Big Boy Studios. Another hour. Out here in the field. Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Helmsy, Eddie Van Adler, all here for a brand new hour. Welcome back, Bill Bubba Bussey.
Rick, glad to be here. Thank all of you for joining us at the little party we call Rick and Bubba.
Fauci update. Well, our little Fauci friend continues to face some criticism as we're now realizing, even though you weren't allowed to say it, that everything everybody was questioning about Dr. Fauci, most all of it seemed to be substantiated now.
We got all the Fauci you want, buddy.
It seemed to have been warranted. So here is Chairman Winstrup.
Yep.
We got hearings with Dr. Fauci, and we're not going to play every bit of it, but here is a clip of kind of the reason that we're all here and trying to get to the bottom of the integrity of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Here we go.
Looking for help. As well, during that time, we discovered the Barrick-Shee 2015 article on creating a chimera using gain-of-function type technology. While policy decisions should have been based on scientific data, some frankly were not. The burdensome 6-foot social distancing rule did not have sufficient scientific report. In your words, it just sort of appeared. Distancing made sense, but the 6 feet was arbitrary. Even Dr. Collins said he still hasn't seen any empirical evidence to support the 6-foot rule. A rule that shut down schools and businesses. A rule that will have negative ramifications for decades. As the pandemic wore on, More mandates also just sort of appeared. But the American public didn't get to see the scientific data to support these mandates. Americans were aggressively bullied, shamed, and silenced for merely questioning or debating issues such as social distancing, masks, vaccines, or the origins of COVID.
So that got us off and running, and he is correct on looking back on how it went down. Fauci is going to double down, even though he's told us that there was no scientific backing for the things he did, but now he's just going to tell us he still thinks they should have been done. So here is Dr. Fauci responding.
I'm going to go through a list of COVID mitigation measures that you supported over the course of the pandemic and ask you to give me a yes or no as to whether you believe these measures were justified. Business closures?
Early on, when 5,000 people were dying a day, yes.
Church closures?
Same thing.
School closures?
Again,
stay-at-home orders?
These were important when we were trying to stop the tsunami of deaths that were occurring early on. How long you kept them going is debatable.
Mask mandates for adults, mask mandates for children, mask mandates for children under 5.
And going back to what I said before, all of that is in the context of, at the time, 4
mask
to 5,000
mandates for children under 5, there's scientific evidence for that?
Excuse me?
Mask mandates for children under 5, there's scientific evidence supporting that?
There was no study that did masks on kids before. You couldn't do the study. You had to respond to an epidemic that was killing 4,000 to 5,000 Americans per
Vaccine
day.
mandates for employees, vaccine mandates for students, vaccine mandates for military.
Vaccines save lives. It is very, very clear that vaccines have saved hundreds of thousands of Americans and millions.
I'm not debating. We're talking about the COVID-19. Did or do the vaccines, the COVID-19 vaccine, stop anyone from getting COVID?
I answered that question to the chairman. Early on, it became clear that
they did.
No, actually, no. In the beginning, it clearly prevented infection in a certain percentage of people, but the durability of its ability to prevent infection was not long. It was measured in months.
And they didn't stop you from spreading it either.
Early on, it did if it prevented infection, but what became clear that it did not prevent transmission when the ability to prevent infection waned.
I wish you'd have stayed on the mandate.
Yeah, I mean, the mandate, it was the deal, not encouraging people. Now, this next one, is this a look back, or is he still saying this, Adam, when we get to number 3? Now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
this was yesterday as well.
He said this yesterday.
And did you see, too, when Fauci responded to vaccines, he started giving those numbers. He said, now, COVID-19 vaccines.
Right.
Fauci, you got to watch him.
Oh, yeah.
He's a slick character. He didn't get in that position by being an idiot.
We all agree that vaccines themselves have been very effective, but we're talking about this one.
Some a lot more than others.
Yeah, there we go.
And do you think the American public should listen to America's brightest and best doctors and scientists, or instead listen to podcasters, conspiracy theorists, and unhinged Facebook memes?
Okay, buddy.
No, listening to people who you just described is going to do nothing but harm people because they will deprive themselves of life-saving interventions, which has happened. And you know, some have done studies. Peter Hotez has done an analysis of this and shows that in people who refuse to get vaccinated for any variety of reasons, probably responsible for an additional 200,000 to 300,000 deaths in this country.
Unproven.
Unproven.
I object. That is as much hearsay as the 6-foot rule. He's just bringing these numbers out of the air. He's got nothing to back that up.
And he's quoting Peter Hotez, who is an absolute quack. He's a vaccinologist. He was on CNN throughout this entire thing, changing his story millions of times over. He went, Dr. Peter Hotez went on Rogan and would not admit that natural immunity is even a thing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And Rogan's like, but what about like physical fitness? What about being healthy? What about getting vitamin D? What about going out and being out in the sun and being a healthy person? And Peter Hotez wouldn't even touch it. He would not admit that natural immunity is better than
Absolutely
vaccinated
was
immunity.
better. As a matter of fact, the vaccine caused you to have a natural response. That's how it worked.
That's what you're
That's how it was
shooting for.
supposed to work.
Yeah, right.
Jim Jordan, who we were all waiting to get a hold of Fauci, he causes Fauci to perjure himself in 11 seconds.
Here we go.
And he's going to say 11 seconds too.
Do you agree that there was a push to downplay the lab leak theory?
Not on my part.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I think most of the country would find that amazing. I still got 11 seconds.
But look at the facts. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
All right, I yield back.
Fauci lied. He was the main person saying it did not come from that lab. It was natural. It came from the wet market. He knew all along what was going on in Wuhan. He helped fund it. That is perjury in my book.
Well, I love that he must have discussed it with whoever was sitting next to him. Because I actually had 11 seconds. I think it was shorter than that.
I think they had a pool going, how quick he could do it.
That wink said it all.
I'll defend Fauci on this. Early on, when people were dying in mass numbers and they were trying this and they said wear a mask and they said sick, look, I don't even blame them for that originally. They were trying to do something to curb the spread.
Yeah.
But what he should have done, and where he is liable and where I hold him accountable, he should have told them where that came from. More than likely, it was a leak at the Wuhan lab because they were doing gain-of-function research that we funded. That would have helped us immensely to try to end this early. But he was like a cat in a sandbox covering his own trail. I don't blame him early. I don't blame him early for trying stuff, but and he said very carefully how long it should have gone on, we should have looked at. But he was the one prolonging it.
We have more from the hearings. We'll run some of those down for you too when we come back. Rick and Bubba. Debt keeps you tossing and turning at night. You can't get away from it. Insanely high interest credit cards and loans make it nearly impossible to pay off your debt. There's a new way out of the debt trap, Pivotal Debt Solutions. Pivotal Debt Solutions can cut or even eliminate interest